Hello students, welcome. This is Dr. Mercado speaking. This is going to be my final lecture over Chapter 18, which deals with activity-based costing. This is Accounting 2402, Principles of Managerial Accounting. Okay, so I want to emphasize enough the importance of organizing your time. I've had students, come and tell me, Miss, I don't have time to complete your homework. The homework is open for 7 days. It opens on Monday and it closes on Sunday. So students have 7 full days to complete their assignments. I highly recommend that you start working on your homework problems during the week. That way, if you have any issues, questions, concerns, you can get with me Monday through Friday because I usually don't respond to messages during the weekend. Okay, I'm only available Monday through Friday. So I encourage students to complete their assignments during the week, maybe 1-2 problems a day. That way, if you do have any questions, I can go ahead and address them for you before the deadline of the assignment. Okay, so please manage your time. One day you read, the next day you take a quiz, and then the next 3 days you can work on your homework problem, and that way you can get to enjoy your weekend and not have to worry about having homework. Okay, so let me move on to problem 18.5. Now this is a problem which means it's long. Okay, I've already set up everything. And if you notice, I use Excel a lot. And I use Excel because if you are familiar with it, if you've used it before, it is super easy to copy formulas, to link cells. It just makes it, so much easier to solve all of your problems. And in the real world, wherever you work, Excel is highly used. So I just, like to use it. And instead of writing it out, I'll just, use Excel to demonstrate how to either set up the problem or complete the problem. Okay, so now this problem 18.5 deals with allocating selling and administrative expenses using the activity-based costing method. Okay, it says Arctic Air manufactures cooling units for commercial buildings. The price and cost of goods sold for each unit are as follows. So the price, we sell each of these units at $60,000. It costs us $28,000 to manufacture, so we have a gross profit of $32,000 per unit. Pretty good profit there. In addition, the company incurs selling and admin expenses of $226,250. The company wishes to assign these costs to its 3 major customers: Go Industries, Breen Incorporated, and the Martin Group. These expenses are related to the 3 major non-manufacturing activities. These are customer service, project bidding, and engineering support. So these 3 activities are not related to the manufacturing of the product. These are like support related activities. Okay. The engineering support is in the form of engineering changes that are placed by the customer to change the design of a product. The budgeted activity costs and activity basis associated with these activities are, according to the problem, we have selling and admin expenses of $226,250, which is what we have a breakdown down here. Okay, and according to the breakdown, we spent about $31,500 in customer service, $74,000 in project bidding, and $120,750 in engineering support, and that gives us our $226,250, which is what we have to allocate to the 3 top customers. Okay. Now, my activity base for customer service is the number of service requests. For project bidding, it's the number of bids. And for engineering support is the number of customer design changes. Activity-based usage and unit volume information for the 3 customers are as follows. Okay, it gives you a breakdown by the 3 customers for the number of service requests, the number of bids, and the number of customer design. So it's a breakdown by customer, and then we've got the total at the very end for that particular category. Okay, and then we have information for unit volume. These are the number of AC units. Is that what we're selling? Yeah, cooling units. The unit volume is the number of cooling units that were sold to each of my customers. So we sold 30 units to Go, 16 units to Bryn, and 4 units to the Martin Group. Okay, so we sold a total of 50 units. Okay, so that is all of the information being provided. We have 4 requirements. I'm going to first go through one at a time. That way we don't get overwhelmed with information. So the first requirement says, determine the activity rates for each of the 3 non-manufacturing activity pools. Okay, so I've got a breakdown up here. I've got my 3 activities. We've got customer service, project bidding, and engineering support. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my cost for each of the activities, and I'm going to divide by my activity base. Okay. Your activity base is provided as the number of service requests, the number of bids, and the number of customer design changes, and we get a breakdown by customer. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with the activity cost. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, let me put a little arrow. This is going to go to my activity cost. Okay. Okay, so my activity cost for customer service is $31,500. Project bidding is $74,000. And engineering support is $127,550. Okay. Now I'm going to divide by my activity base. Okay. For the activity base, we're going to look at the total activity base right here. Okay. So we're going to look at right here. We're going to divide by my activity base. In total, okay, how many number of service requests did I have? Well, I had 180. I had 185 bids, and I had 161 customer design changes. So these numbers from my total are going to go over here. So it's 180, 185, and 161. Okay. And let's see. Now we're going to do the math. We're going to go ahead and divide. We're going to get the activity cost. And that's why I like using Excel, because I can just do the formula in the actual cells. So it's going to be your activity cost divided by your activity base. Okay. And that gives me my activity rate of $175 per customer service request. Okay. We're going to do the 74,000 divided by the 185. That means I'm going to have $400 for every bid. Okay. And for my engineering support, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my $127.50 divided by my 161. I'm going to get $750 per every engineering support case. So these numbers are my activity rates. Okay, for every customer service, I'm going to pay $175. For every project bidding, $400, and for every engineering support, I'm going to allocate $750. Okay, those are my rates. Those are not going to change. So what I did here is I populated that information. I copied it over. I've got 3 customers: Go, Bryn, and the Martin Group. And I've got 3 different activities. They're the 3 activities the same for the 3 customers. You've got customer service, project bidding, and engineering support. Okay, so my activity rates have been calculated up here. All I did is I copied them into my activity rate cells. So I've got 175, 400, and 750 for each customer. Okay, those are my rates. Those do not change. Now, I'm going to get my activities by customer. So I'm going to look at Go. Okay, let's look at Go first. According to Go, I had 36 service requests. I'm going to put 36 there. Okay. I had 50 bids, project bidding, and I had 18 design changes. Okay. So what I did here is I'm multiplying the 36, the activity, times the activity rate. So I had 36 customer service requests by the rate of 175. That's going to give me a cost of $6,300. I had 50 project bids at 400 rate. That's going to give me $20,000. And I had 18 engineering support at 750. That's $13,500. So my total non-manufacturing cost, activity cost for Go is $39,800. Okay. We're going to do the same thing for the next 2 customers. Okay. Now we're going to look at Bryn. Okay. Bryn had 28 customer service, 40 bids, and 35 design changes. Okay. I get my activity times my activity rate. I multiply them, and then that's going to give me my dollar amounts. My total non-manufacturing activity cost for Bryn is $47,150. Okay. And last but not least, we're going to do the Martin Group. I'm looking at the Martin Group. The Martin Group had 116 service requests, 95 bids, and 108 design changes. I get my activity times my activity rate, and that gives me total non-manufacturing activity cost of $139,300. So all I'm doing here is I'm grabbing my activity information by customer that is provided, and I'm multiplying it by my activity rate that I calculated in requirement 1 for each activity. So this don't change. This is the same for each customer because that is our activity rate. That does not change. The only thing that changes are the activities, and the activity information is provided for you in the problem. Okay? So now we know how much we're going to allocate to each of my 3 customers. I'm going to allocate, remember, we're trying to allocate the $226,250 of selling and admin expenses to my 3 top customers. So I'm going to get that expense and I'm going to pass it down to those 3 customers. Well, I'm going to pass down $39,800 to Go, $47,150 to Bryn, and $139,300 to the Martin Group. That is how I'm going to split up, or I'm going to allocate that and selling and admin expenses over to my 3 customers. Okay. So that takes care of requirement 1 and requirement 2. Requirement 1 is the top part. Requirement 2 is all of these calculations. The numbers highlighted are my total activity costs being allocated to each customer. Now, requirement 3. They're asking us to construct a customer profitability report for the 3 customers, dated for the year end December the 31st, using the activity cost in requirement 2. The report should disclose the gross profit and operating income associated with each customer. So I've set it up for us here. I've got the name of the company, Arctic Air. This is a customer profitability report for the year ended December the 31st. Now, I've got let me delete this. I've got my 3 customers, Go, Bryn, and the Martin Group. Okay, so they're asking us to create a customer profitability report. To create a customer profitability report, we always start with our revenues. Now, our revenue information is not provided, but they do give us very useful information up here that we can utilize to calculate our revenue. Okay, so we don't know what our revenues are. We have to calculate them. So let's calculate our revenues down here. Okay. So let's do for Go. Okay. So according to the problem, okay, our revenue for the price that we sell each of our units is $60,000. That is what we sell each of our units. Okay. So we sell each of our cooling units at $60,000. I'm going to get the $60,000 and I'm going to multiply it by the number of units that we sold. Well, according to the problem, for Go purchased 30 units. So I'm going to multiply the 60,000 times the 30 units. Okay. And let's see what that gives us. Let me just make this. Well, I can just enter the information right next to it. So it'll be 60,000 times 30 units. That's $1.8 million. Okay? 1,800,000. Okay? Now for Bryn, okay, what did all of this shift? You see, I don't like when it moves. Okay? So, now we're going to focus on Bryn. Okay? Let me just fix this real quick because I don't like it being outside. Okay? Okay, there we go. Okay, now for Bryn, I've got, what are we looking at? Okay, so for Bryn, we're still going to charge $60,000 per unit. And for Bryn purchased 16 units from us. Okay, so we've got 60,000 times 16 units. And let's see what that gives us. That's 60,000 times 16 units. That gives me $960,000. Okay. And then we have the Martin. Okay. For the Martin, we also, each unit is sold at 60,000 units, $60,000, I'm sorry. And we have 4 units that were sold to the Martin Group. Okay, so that's going to be 60,000 times 4. That's going to give me $240,000. These are my revenues. Okay, your revenues go right there. Okay, in the first line item. Okay, so go, I've got 1,800,000. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to link it. 1,800,000 for go. For Bryn, I've got 960,000. And for the Martin Group, I've got 240,000. Okay. Now we have to calculate our cost of goods sold. Okay. So our cost of goods sold information is also provided. It's 28,000 per unit. Okay. And it's in parentheses because this is a cost. Okay. So to figure this out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in parentheses. I've got 28,000. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply that by how many units. Okay. So we've got 30 units that we sold to Go. Oh, I'm putting in the wrong cell. Sorry. Right there. Go. Okay, so I've got my cost of goods sold was how much? 28,000 negative. Okay, so it's going to be 28,000. And I'm going to multiply by 30 units. Okay. So where am I getting those 28,000 from? From up here where it says cost of goods sold to 28,000. That is how much we spent in each of our cooling units. That's how much the expense is to make. Okay. So then that's going to be negative 28,000 times 30. That's going to give me negative 840,000. Okay. For Bryn, my cost of goods sold is 28,000 per unit. And then I'm going to multiply by 16 units. Okay. So that's going to be negative 28,000 times 16. That gives me negative 448. Now for the Martin Group, once again, it's negative 28,000. This is how much it costs us to make each cooling unit. And how many did the Martin Group purchase from us? They purchased 4 units. Okay. So I'm going to get my negative 28,000 times 4. That's going to give me 112,000. Okay. These numbers are going to go into your cost of goods sold. Okay. So your cost of goods sold for Go is 840. For Bryn is 448. And for the Martin Group, it's 112,000. Okay. Now I've got my revenues and my cost of goods sold. I can calculate my gross profit. So your gross profit is going to be your revenues minus your cost of goods sold. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our calculations for each of the customers. Okay. And that gives us gross profit of 960,000 for Go, 512,000 for Bryn, and the Martin Group 128,000. Okay. Now we have our selling and admin activities, which is customer service, project bidding, and engineering support. Okay. Now we're going to allocate those costs over to our 3 different customers. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring down the information from up here. Okay. So for example, for Go Industries, we've got 6,300 for customer service, 20,000 for project bidding, and 13,500 for engineering support. I'm going to bring those numbers down here. Okay, so I'm just going to copy them over. So that way we know where are we getting these numbers, where we're getting it from the top part. Okay. Now all of these are costs. Because they're costs, I'm going to put them in parentheses. Okay, because I need to subtract. This is money that we spent. Okay. And then the total. Oh, I don't know. Okay, the total. What did I do? Let me undo. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to get the total for the 3. Okay, and that gives me 39,800. So that is how much I'm going to allocate for my selling and admin activities to go. I'm going to allocate $39,800 cost, okay, of my total cost. Now, to get your operating income, you're going to get your gross profit minus or plus your selling and admin expenses. In this case, we have a negative 39,800, so we're going to subtract. That gives me 920,200. Okay. We're going to do the same thing with Bryn. For Bryn, we're going to get the 4,900 for customer service. We're going to get the 16,000 for project bidding. And we're going to get 26,250 for engineering support. Okay. And we're going to add those together. That gives me 47,150. Last but not least, we've got the Martin Group. Okay. So for the Martin Group, we're going to go ahead and we're going to copy the information from the last columns here. For customer service, I've got 20,300. For project bidding, I've got 38,000. And then for engineering support, I've got 81,000. Okay. So your total will be 139,300, which is what we have here. Okay, so these are my costs. This is what I'm going to allocate for my selling and admin expenses to my 3 top customers. I'm going to allocate 39,800 to Go, 47,150 to Bryn, and 139,300 to the Martin Group. Now I can calculate my operating income or loss. Do we make any money? Do we lose money? So I'm going to get my gross profit, and I'm going to subtract my total selling and admin expenses. Okay, and that gives me 920,200. So Go still had pretty strong operating income regardless. Okay, now let's look at Bryn. Okay, we're gonna get our gross profit minus our selling and admin expenses, and that gives me 464,850. Okay, still pretty reasonable. Now let's look at the Martin Group. Okay, so we've got profit of 128, and then we have total selling and admin expenses of 139,300. Our expenses are greater than our profit. So now I've got a loss of $11,300. So both Go and Bryn are doing well. They're in the positives. The Martin Group is in the negative, 11,300. So that is requirement 3, which is to complete a profitability report for the 3 customers. So here we broke it down, not by departments, but by customers. Okay? It just depends what the problem is asking you. So that is requirement 3. Now requirement 4 says provide recommendations to management based on the profitability report in requirement 3. Okay? So if we look at the big picture here, the customer profitability report for Arctic, we find out that the Martin Group is unprofitable. Okay, while the other 2 customers have acceptable profit margins. So the Martin Group requires many customer service, project bidding, and design activity changes. So we can reduce all of this like the huge cost. Okay, they're being allocated so much cost based on the drivers that we have here, which are our customer service, project bidding, and engineering support. Okay, so we make the recommendation, They need to really minimize the customer service, project bidding, and design activity changes. Management can encourage the marketing group to reduce the number of design changes and customer service requests. The design changes are probably driving the need for higher customer service requests. And this is basically a behavior that the marketing group needs to work on. We don't want uh, we don't want to encounter this issue where, you know what, our costs are greater than our profit. Okay, so to reduce us having a loss, um, you know, the main reason we have a loss, if we look at the report, is because of our selling and admin expenses. We had a gross profit of 128, but then we have all of these selling and admin expenses. And look at these figures: 81,000 for engineering support, 38,000 for project bidding. If we could decrease the selling and admin activities, then our gross profit would be higher. So we have to conduct research as to why my selling and admin expenses for customer service, project bidding, and engineering support are so high for the Martin Group. Okay. Management can encourage the Martin Group to reduce the number of design changes and customer service requests. The design changes are probably driving the need for higher customer service requests. And this is a behavior that the Martin Group needs to work on. Charge a price for customer service and design changes separately. That is, unbundle the pricing of goods from the support services. This can be a good long-term solution as well as help improve the bidding process. So those are some possible alternatives. It says recommendations to management based on the profitability report. So those are some of our recommendations to ensure that we stay in the positives. We want to make sure we're in the black. We don't have a loss, and that's basically it for this particular problem. It's just the recommendations of what we would like to do to ensure that we have a higher income as possible. So we did all of our calculations on top. We calculated the activity rate. Once my activity rate was calculated, then the rest was a piece of cake. It was just entering the activity rates times the actual activity, and that will give you your total non-manufacturing activity costs for each of the customers. And then we created a customer profitability report, which are our revenues less our cost of goods sold, give us our gross profit, and then we subtracted our selling and admin expenses. Okay, so we subtracted our selling and admin expenses from our gross profit, because this is money that we spent, okay, on those three different activities. So because it's money that we spent, we deduct it, and then we get our gross profit minus our total selling and admin activities, and that gives you our operating income. Okay, this is a problem. This is long. There's a lot of information. Please pace yourself. Take your time when you're working out the problem. A friendly reminder that you do have 2 attempts to complete your homework and your quiz. The highest grade is retained. So if you need practice, I highly encourage that you utilize both attempts. I will always keep the highest grade earned. So I've had some students ask me, Miss, can I have extra problems, or can I redo my assignment like 10 times? No, there's a limit of 2 times. I keep the highest grade earned. But if you do need additional problems, there are some additional resources on your Cengage account that maybe you can utilize to study. Okay, but if you review carefully the examples provided on your ebook, you shouldn't have any issues completing this problem. If you have any questions, concerns, don't hesitate to contact me. I am here to provide as much assistance as possible. Okay, so that is basically it for Chapter 18 lectures. I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your week, and until next time, thank you.